Hello everyone, Jacob Vandersteen here, and I am in the studio on a Sunday, so that means we are going to do podcast takeaways. So I did 2 podcasts yesterday. Remember, those are going to be live streamed on Twitch every single Saturday, starting at around 9 a.m., going to as late as 5 p.m., meaning up to 3 episodes, 6 hours of content, and they are phenomenal guests across a wide array of subjects. There's definitely going to be something and someone that piques your interest and that you would love to learn from and hear from, because I know the people who I'm interviewing are quite amazing. So we're going to talk about the last 2, and those were, at 9 a.m., I had Dr. Hongfei D. He is a primary care practitioner that left modern healthcare to go focus on his own practice. And when I say that he left modern healthcare, I mean the modern healthcare system, not the ways of doing medicine which have revolutionized health over the last few decades and centuries. Still practicing that medicine, taking advantage of the infrastructure within the healthcare system that is very effective at, let's say, life-saving treatments and specific interventions, which again have come from innovation, have come from the system, but also bringing into play and bringing back to our lives that direct type of care medicine where we can reach out to a doctor and they're there for us. We're not one of thousands of patients, we're one of hundreds of patients. And I actually experienced a benefit of this just today, oddly enough, of all things. So I met with him yesterday, and I haven't been to the urgent care in probably about 5 years or so. It was maybe 3 years, but then before that it was another 5 years at least. And so this morning I wake up, and earlier this month I was quite sick. I had some form of pneumonia or something. And so we were talking about that yesterday, and I was coughing after the live stream when I was talking with him, and he said, well, you should go get that checked out. And I was like, okay, just ran it through my mind, but I felt pretty dang good. So this morning I wake up at about 4 a.m. and there's just this tightness in my back, not necessarily where my lung would be, but pretty dang close. One of the spots where it's debatable that it's your lung. And so I woke up, and I'm sitting there and I'm getting dizzier as I'm trying to breathe, and I'm thinking, wow, something actually happened. And I'm there for another hour and a half trying to go back to sleep, 2 hours trying to see if it'll go away, hop in the shower just to try to relax, dizzy. And after doing that for 3 hours and just feeling dizzier, I was concerned that I had to go into the urgent care. So before doing that, I gave him a call at about 6:30 a.m. Sunday, Minnesota time. He's on the East Coast, at almost 8. And he was there. He picked up and he said, you're probably fine. Most likely it's this or this. And really, I said it could be just my own panic was creating the dizziness, because I have this pain. I don't know exactly what it is. And it's actually something we talked about a little bit, situations like that on the show, where earlier in the month I used ChatGPT to say, here are my symptoms, and studies have shown that methodology, just like with WebMD, but it's obviously improved now with AI, is about 90 to 95% as effective as talking to a doctor to know what symptoms are. So I did that earlier in the month, but what we talked about in the podcast was there are those times where you do need a doctor's opinion or a doctor's take on how you're feeling, so that you can have confidence in what you're experiencing and certainty in what you should do. And so I gave him a call. He picks up and he tells me it's probably this. It's probably more muscular. So try this. And I did it, and it actually worked. So I went from 3 hours by myself and thinking I absolutely need to go to the urgent care to him saying, you know what, give this a try. And I tried it, and it actually got better. And within 15 minutes, it's not like it got completely better. I still have the pain right now, but it is much better. So that's the power of his form of healthcare. And by the way, I looked online and see if I could do some online appointment. They were still a few hours out, and we're talking about sitting there, getting more lightheaded, more dizzy, barely able to breathe, that kind of thing. So it was a phenomenal story that through that podcast, when you listen to it, there are things that we can change about our healthcare system, and they don't need to be doing away entirely with what works. It's finding this harmony between what has worked and what can work and what's better. So that's a major takeaway that I think a lot of people who if you go watch it will be able to learn some things and see how healthcare really works, how the reimbursements and the systems, and again, have a thoughtful, deeply meaningful conversation about the way that your health plan should be set up that's optimized, not just buying in and only following a certain way, but really focusing on your true health. Check that episode out. It's going to be dropping. The goal would be that we start publishing episodes that we live stream on Saturday. That's where you can catch them first, but then we'll drop them by Friday of the following week. But to do that, we're going to need to drop like 12 episodes that we have over the next 2 weeks. Keep an eye out. Plus, we're going to be taking all the other videos that we had on the other Titans of Today channel, and we're going to be putting them on my main channel just because YouTube set up a new thing where you have it's new, in quotes, it's about a year old, where you can have a podcast under your main channel instead of a channel for your podcast. There's about 30 or so episodes, 35, 36 episodes that we're going to be publishing over the next couple months, the 12 new ones that we've shot in the last month. And then from there, again, every Saturday we'll live stream, we'll publish them on Fridays, and then throughout you'll be seeing different snips and clips and things from those so that you can capture the insights through the channel, so make sure to subscribe. Now, the second podcast was with another doctor, different kind of doctor, Dr. Alexander Pfeiffer, and we really talked at depth and at length about sustainability and the different measures that we can take to effectively decarbonize in an intelligent way that really does meet businesses and consumers and manufacturers and producers of and processors of raw material where they are. And that's really what is necessary, because one of the things that we talked about is the mindsets that many people have. And I would say in the world of sustainability, there's the purist mindset. And the purist mindset means we have to completely go to zero within the next couple years, or we're not doing anything. Or if you don't entirely buy into this, if you don't entirely change everything about your company, what you're doing doesn't matter. This is the kind of thinking that produces people that say Tesla's tires are not as energy efficient, or they're very energy intensive to produce, and they use these different sorts of dirty raw materials. But in the greater picture, if we're moving towards electric vehicles, we are making a greater step. So we talk very deeply about that and different types of mindsets in the world of sustainability, but also very measurable, tactical, technical things about sustainability. Because what he does is he runs a company called Teralytic that focuses on quantifying and helping producers and manufacturers of goods with identifying where the fossil fuel emissions and the carbon emissions are being generated along their first and second and third order operations, meaning their own products, and then the inputs of their products. So then that would lead to level 3, he calls it, or scope 3, and that is your suppliers and your supply chain and how to source and find better materials. Really great things in there. We talked about sensitive intervention points, which you can think about as tipping points, and how there are certain things that we can do that would affect the system of our global utilization and production of carbon emission in a tremendously impactful way, versus some of the things that aren't sensitive intervention points, like, hey, everybody should be vegan, everybody should be vegetarian. Things like that are, the effect is much less measurable, and it's more potentially on a fringe of what is reasonable. And so really great conversation in there. If you're passionate about sustainability, or if you just want to know more, Dr. Alexander Pfeiffer in that interview will be enlightening for you. So keep an eye out for those episodes. I'm going to stick true to my word, and we are going to get out a ton of new episodes over the next 2 weeks, and even more after that. So keep your eyes out. And then again, 3 new podcasts a week is a ton of really great interviews. I'm proud of everything we've put together, so I really know that all of you are going to enjoy it. So for those of you who watch this video, support the podcast, just subscribe to this page, and we'll keep those coming. So that's podcast takeaways for this week. What do you think? Go check them out, and I will see you in the next video.